Hi, this is Ming Chew, the injury guru. This is episode 2. If you remember, this is only my second time out, so I hope you liked the first episode. This episode I want to talk about fascia. It's become a pretty well-known word, especially in the last few years. If you don't know about fascia, I want to talk to you about it. Fascia, in the strictest sense, in a Latin translation, actually means band. And the human body is actually made up of a lot of fascia. I don't think anyone's ever done a study about, in terms of percentage, the mass of the fascia on a human body, but it can easily be 40–50% of the mass of the human body. So how come people don't know about it? I treat it all day long, and I've been doing this for over 20 years. And if you speak to doctors about fascia, unfortunately, they will say, huh? What's fascia? They'll know what it is or what it's supposed to do, but they don't really understand it because they don't touch it, they don't deal with it. But this is what I do for a living, and by treating the fascia, you can cure a lot of injuries. For example, if you have an injury that you think is an orthopedic injury, like say a knee problem, a lower back problem that has a slip disc as what they believe is the true cause, you can somehow trace it all the way back and find out that there's some type of connective tissue problem, which is the fascia. And the fascia basically is the soft tissue. It's an interwoven tissue where you have muscle and connective tissue together, and the name is technically known as myofascial tissue, but for simplicity's sake, we just call it fascia. And this becomes a very important thing because the fascia is responsible for so many things, and yet is still really not well understood by the medical community. Fortunately, I wrote a book, and if you can see this book, the cover of the book is called The Permanent Pain Cure. I talk about fascia in great detail, and it talks about how you can cure a lot of your injuries that are sometimes what doctors would say surgery only, by just treating the fascia. And it's really not that hard to fix because all you have to do is find the restriction and just release it. And the book teaches you how to release the fascia without any particular type of equipment, or you don't need someone to help you do it. But if you do look for someone to help you do it, you would need a special therapist like myself. I consider myself a soft tissue expert, and I am a fascial expert. So if you will need to have certain tissues released and have it done manually, you would have to hire someone like myself that's a fascial specialist. Now, this whole thing about fascial therapy has really took on a life of its own. You see a lot of people talking about soft tissue therapy now. It's really happened over the last few years, and I'm happy about that because my mission statement has been always to spread the word on how fascia is responsible for a lot of injuries. For example, also carpal tunnel syndrome. A lot of patients, they get what they call they get the carpal tunnel surgery right on the wrist, but it really isn't the problem, because if you actually trace the problem of, say, carpal tunnel syndrome, it's the entire kinetic chain from the neck all the way down to the wrist that's involved. So just cutting what we call the transverse carpal ligament is not going to solve the problem. So as you will know, if you continue to follow me, I'll get into detail about the importance of fascia and how it relates to basically all injuries. And if this really catches on, I think this can solve a lot of problems for you out there. People with migraine headaches, for example, there are fascial restrictions on the muscles on the back of your skull. There's a region called the suboccipitals. If that gets bound up, guess what you get? You get headaches, you get vertigo, you get neck pain, all kinds of problems that can easily be cured with proper fascial therapy. So if you're interested in more of this stuff, stay tuned, because I'm going to talk about this in great detail. I just came from a Knick game tonight, and you see this young kid, Courtney Lee, got injured, and we'll talk about his injury for his hamstring problems in the next episode. So if you're interested, please subscribe or look me up at mingmethod.com, or you can email me directly at mingchewpt@gmail.com. I'll see you next time. Take care.